I want to talk about Trump's legal counterattack after the FBI raid. Let me show you this first. This is Truth Social, Trump's social media, where he's stating himself, quote, "A major motion pertaining to the Fourth Amendment, which is against illegal searches and seizures. Motion pertaining to the Fourth Amendment will soon be filed concerning the illegal break-in of my home, Mar-a-Lago, right before the ever-important midterm elections. My rights, together with the rights of all Americans, have been violated at a level rarely seen before in the country. Remember, they even spied on my campaign." Remember, he said that early on. They said it was misinformation, turned out to be true. He continues saying the greatest witch hunt in USA history has been going on for 6 years with no consequences to the scammers. It should not be allowed to continue. Now, what he's saying is that his lawsuit's going to be based on the Fourth Amendment. So he's arguing the Department of Justice basically did not have the justification, legal justification, to launch what would be a search a break-in of Mar-a-Lago, and a seizure, i.e., the seizure of different documents, including his passports. Of course, the Fourth Amendment protects Americans against unauthorized, unreasonable searches and seizures. So there has to be justifiable reason for it. Also has to be within a certain limit. It can't just be a go find something, smash and grab, which frankly, based on the evidence we're seeing with the FBI and the warrant from the Department of Justice, appears to have been the case with the Trump raid on Mar-a-Lago, meaning Trump has a very strong case for it. That's not even getting into, frankly, the information on Trump declassifying the documents. And folks, I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. I went and dug up all of the old documents. Trump officially declassified these documents, and the legacy news outlets, the corporate media, they're trying to sweep the whole thing under the rug, pretend it never happened. I'm going to show you the actual reports on that, but that'll be for tomorrow because I'll need a whole episode, or most of a whole episode, to talk about that. Let's continue on this, though, because really this is about the lawsuit, the justification for the lawsuit, and the beginning of the counterattack. Epoch Times has this story. It says, Trump hints at filing major motion challenging the FBI raid. I won't go over the first part of this because it covered it in Trump's tweet. But it says further in about the Fourth Amendment and the legal basis for what Trump is doing. It says, under the Fourth Amendment, only search warrants that are reasonable are legal. Now, it also requires that search warrants be justified by probable cause and supported by oath or affirmation. Now, the search warrant, which we have seen now because Trump released it publicly and then the DOJ responded by partially exposing theirs, it was unsealed on August 12th. It showed that the Department of Justice was investigating Trump for potential breaches of 3 U.S. laws relating to the handling of certain records, including defense information and records relating to federal investigations. Maybe an investigation into them, which I'll talk about in a bit. An inventory list, also unsealed on August 12th, showed that the FBI agents took 11 sets of documents variously described as classified, top secret, secret, and confidential, and also, as they mentioned, Trump's passports and documents they shouldn't have taken legally. But, aside the point, the affidavit filed in support of the search warrant application, which contains a DOJ Department of Justice case for probable cause, is currently sealed. I mentioned last week that the judge was going to unseal the affidavit. That's currently going through. The judge is saying that they basically wants to have it redacted first, meaning they're going to remove parts of it or use their black highlighter to mark out parts of it and then release it. Trump wants the full thing released, so we'll see which way that goes. Regardless, while the government has asked the court to keep it this way, saying its disclosure would jeopardize the integrity of the federal investigation, a federal judge in Florida on August 18th said he's inclined to unseal portions of the affidavit and ordered government officials to give him a redacted version of the document for its potential release. Further in, it says this. One of Trump's lawyers, James Trusty, said on the Mark Levin Show, a radio program, late Friday, that the legal challenges will come very soon. Meaning Trump's lawyers are saying they're going to be releasing their legal counterattack against the Department of Justice and FBI possibly very soon. And they're saying, quote, it should be something that gets publicly filed so the whole United States will get to read this thing, said Trusty, a former federal prosecutor. And I think that's very important to the president. He's been very transparent through this whole process, and he added the team will possibly file this lawsuit on August 22nd. Well, it's today, folks, so we'll see if he does it. Trustee said that the team plans to request judicial intervention via a special master. And this is important because basically, as many of us would probably agree, the Department of Justice is not very good at investigating itself. They're not very good at, prosecuting themselves or doing things that will criminalize themselves. In fact, under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution, you're allowed to not incriminate yourself. So, in order to get around that problem, Trump's lawyers are asking for a special master. And let me explain what that is. It says, on rare occasions, this is needed in cases where a privilege issue is present. Now, such as when a search warrant is executed in an attorney's office, he added this case warrants the assignment of a special master because it involves issues of attorney-client privilege and executive privilege. Trump has alleged that the FBI agents took documents that are protected by attorney-client and executive privileges because, again, it's documents that were protected by him as president of the United States or former president, depending on how you look at it. That he, of course, declassified, that he was holding and trying to get released publicly. Yes, he did declassify them. I'll show you all the documents tomorrow. And also because, again, he was in the process of filing lawsuits against Hillary Clinton, the Clinton campaign, trying to get public as well these different Spygate documents, the Crossfire Hurricane documents, and things related to the Mueller investigation, meaning that he has justifiable reason to request this special master that will also mean that he's not going through the normal system of the justice system that appears to have a very strong bias. He's getting around that. Now, attorney-client privilege allows communications between a lawyer and client to remain confidential, very likely violated by the FBI in Trump's case, while executive privilege allows the president and other officials to keep some communications private from the courts or Congress, also very likely violated by the FBI in this case. Trustee continued saying, we have to get somebody in the middle because we are going to leave it to we're not going to leave it to Department of Justice to tell us they're going to file to do their filter search, and they are the guardians of what's privileged or not. Again, the Department of Justice is not going to incriminate itself. This case, frankly, ties into possible corruption with the Department of Justice, and they're not going through that normal system because of this. This makes this a very special, very unique lawsuit that we will hopefully see today. And folks, it's going to be very, very interesting. I mean, get ready for the show as this plays out, maybe today again.